Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to change the way the world eats. My name is Shurina. I'm a certified nutritionist, health, nutrition, performance, brain productivity coach, and just someone with a lot of passion for sharing my knowledge about nutrition and how to use it as a precise tool to feel, look, and do your absolute best. Guys, happy Monday! Today is Monday. Time to chase your dreams. The world is working, open for business, and ready for your accomplishments. So every day, what helps me to keep going after a long-term bigger goal where you're probably not gonna see like super major progress or accomplish this goal for maybe a couple of years, maybe more. So what helps me to keep going is to have some goal, some action, some accomplishment that, yes, gives me this feeling of accomplishment and moving forward, feeling of progress every day. And also, don't forget to celebrate those smaller or medium or bigger accomplishments. And I'm not talking about going out and necessarily doing a bunch of things or buying things or, eating or drinking things. I'm not talking about those, bigger arrangements. No, celebrate it with yourself. Take a moment, a couple of minutes, and just sit there and acknowledge, I did that. I usually do a happy dance also. Like I start jumping and dancing and like, woohoo, screaming and doing silly things like that. But it boosts your dopamine and probably all the other happy neurotransmitters like endorphins or serotonin. And it gives your brain that feeling that, this is going good and we are making progress. So keep going, right? So manufacture that, guys. Don't wait for it to happen. It might never happen. You need to prime your brain. You need to be an initiator if you want to have a happy brain. Last week we talked, and the week before that, we talked a lot about brain types and how to make any brain type. It doesn't matter what kind of natural inclinations you have, how to make any brain type, any sort, any kind of nervous system happy. What practices, what nutrients, what supplements you might consider, right? So re-listen to those episodes about persistent, sensitive brain, cautious brain, balanced brain, spontaneous brain, that all have their strengths, but also things that don't make you feel that good. So listen to those episodes. This week we are talking about what's missing on my diet. And specifically, I want to talk about nutrients that are important for your brain function. And I'm talking about dietary patterns that are more or less popular these days or a couple of years prior coming into the present, right? So today, for example, we are talking about low carb and keto diets and what your brain can be missing on those diets that is essential for your brain function. And that's why you might not feel that great on that diet because you simply miss key nutrients. And the key concept that you want to take away this week in general, guys, is that the more you limit your food groups, I'm talking about whole foods, like maybe beans or maybe animal products or maybe dairy, whatever that food group might be, the more you limit the amount and kinds of food that are on your plate, the variety of your diet, the more you limit that, the less variety of nutrients you're gonna get. And so if you are on a very restrictive diet, meaning you just eat, like 10 foods all the time, or maybe even less, maybe like 5 foods, just meat, just muscle meat of, let's say, cows, beef, basically, right? If you just eat that, there is so much you are not getting, like so much. And it doesn't matter how much protein you eat, how many calories you eat. When you don't eat essential vitamins and minerals, a lot of them, you're gonna suffer. You're gonna suffer sooner and later, and some damage might be even irreversible. right? So you really want to be aware of those things, of those possible deficiencies that tend to be present on a specific diet protocol. And you want to take proactive action. You want to supplement. Probably, actually, the first solution is to add more foods that you can tolerate. Do not eliminate foods for no good reason. And the only good reason is really when you have disease, when you have an allergy or sensitivity, things that are not great for you, right? If you are allergic to, let's say, I don't know, peanuts, like common allergy, then don't eat peanuts, but eat the rest of the nuts. Do not eliminate all of the nuts because some doctor told you, or you read it somewhere that lectins are bad, or something else is bad. Like, there are some doctors that think that there are only 2 foods that you can basically eat and the rest is poison, because they said so, or because they read some study, or because that's what they believe in. That is not necessarily at all truth. So you want to be aware that the more you limit your food supply, the more you limit the variety of foods, the more you limit the kind of nutrients that are in your diet that's needed for your optimal health and performance. And of course, your brain health, the hungriest organ for all sorts of nutrients. Usually the brain suffers the first. Like when you start eliminating all kinds of nutrients, your brain will suffer first. And it won't tell you, it won't hurt, it won't usually have any pain signals, but you will notice things like, I'm in bad mood all the time. Or I'm mentally fatigued and I have troubles learning or memorizing things. I'm kind of depressed all the time. I cannot push myself in my workout. Now I feel like the whole world is against me and I'm all negative about all the situations in the world, and it seems so overwhelming and I don't know how to manage stress and I'm basically panicking and on the verge of collapsing. That actually signs of not working brain and nervous systems more often than not. Of course, the body is a whole system, so there are a lot of things involved, but that's how you can learn that your brain, your nervous system, they aren't doing that well, right? And again, it's not like the brain gonna tell you, you're missing this nutrient. No, like there is no such thing. The brain cannot usually tell you exactly what you're missing and where you can get it. Sometimes it happens, like for me, I've been eating a whole food diet predominantly, no flavorings or things that give fake foods aromas, or I don't really eat packaged foods that kind of tricks my brain into thinking the food has what it doesn't have, like strawberry flavored protein shake that has no strawberries and probably no vitamin C that strawberries are rich in, right? So I don't eat all of that. And so when my body, my brain, they miss something, I do have a craving for, let's say, sweet potatoes. That might be one of the few sources, legitimate sources of certain kinds of carbohydrates or certain kinds of nutrients, right? So I do feel these cravings, but unless you've been eating a whole food diet and you're very sensitive and you can interpret a lot of the signals, it's probably not going to happen that intuitively for you. It took me years to develop that kind of intuition, right? But you can be aware of your eating patterns and what you can be missing, and you can be proactive about that and put certain things on your daily, weekly menu to meet those possible nutrient inadequacies. So let's talk about keto and low carb diets. So what can you be missing on those diets that some people say have everything? Like there is no need for fiber or carbohydrates or any nutrients whatsoever in most of the plant foods, right? You can hear things like that, and most of it is not true and does not have anything to do with reality. Every food group, almost every food group, brings something unique to the table, some nutrition profile. So On a keto low carb diet, more often than not, you will be missing B1 vitamin. That is also called thiamine, and it's a major carbohydrate burner, so it's needed to get energy from carbohydrates. It also helps to metabolize glucose. And our nervous system, our brain, they are the hungriest organs for blood glucose. Brain cannot live without glucose. Now, some part of it can be fueled by ketones, those are byproducts of fat metabolism, but at least 40%, that's what the data seems to show. At least 40% your brain needs to get from glucose, and 40% might be about like 50 grams of carbs or so per day. But then also your muscles can compete with that. So if you eat 50 grams of carbohydrates, digestible carbohydrates per day, it doesn't necessarily mean it all goes to your brain. And also what it means that your body might not be that efficient, that effective at making glucose from other non-carbohydrate sources. Like for me, it seems to be the case. Every time I go low carb, I don't seem to be doing that good at all, especially on an emotional, mental state level. Like I get unhappy and I stay unhappy, right? And as soon as I start eating carbohydrates from things like sweet potatoes and beans and fruit, I'm like super happy and optimistic, and that's the state I love to stay in. Plus, things like my energy, my workouts, my period also seem to go all over the place when I don't eat my carbohydrates. So for me, carbohydrates, they are quite essential for my optimal health. And so B vitamin is essential for processing those carbohydrates, that glucose, and helping your nervous system, your brain, to fuel properly. And fuel, blood glucose is one of the most essential factors of your optimal brain performance. Now, if there is not enough or not sufficient, not optimal amount of sustainable blood glucose that goes into your brain, you can experience all kinds of things, from brain fog to anxiety to poor memory and poor ability to focus, concentrate, pay attention, etc. B1, it is mostly present, unless you supplement with that, in foods, in grains and beans. And a low carb keto diet, obviously you're not consuming much of either, right? You can find some of that in other foods, right? But usually very hard to get unless you're eating on a regular basis those carbohydrate-rich foods. It also present in a lot of other carbohydrate-rich foods like potatoes, bananas, I'm not sure actually, and fruit. But mostly, again, B1 thiamine is present in carbohydrate-rich foods that are obviously missing on low carb and keto diets. Then we have B9 or folate. And this is one of the most crucial vitamins also for your nervous systems, and you might experience next symptoms when you're not getting enough folate or B9 vitamin. Your mind is not that flexible, you're more sticky, you just get stuck on things. You might experience severe allergies and allergy-like symptoms. Also, it might contribute to depression. It also supports digestion, eyesight, skin health, fertility too. It helps to clear homocysteine, which might contribute to heart disease and cancer. Also, it boosts levels of choline, which protects against fatty liver disease, supports digestion of fats, helps you contract your muscles, supports sustained focus, attention. Like, it has a lot of roles in our body. That just a short list, but obviously it is important. Why some people do not get enough folate? Because besides liver and organ meats, well, basically liver, you get it from greens and beans. Are you eating enough greens and beans? Yeah, I'm not sure, right? A lot of people on keto low carb diet Also start limiting all kinds of plant foods and probably beans for sure, but also a lot of people do not eat enough greens, like few servings a day, and that's how you can end up being deficient in folate, that very key nutrient for your mental, emotional state, and also digestion, muscle contraction, and choline, focused attention. All of that is important. So again, besides liver on a low carb diet, eat a lot of greens, and they have to be actually fresh, either raw or cooked very mildly, because it also tend to leak out folate into water if you cook it. Also, when you freeze vegetables like, I don't know, broccoli, a lot of it is lost during the process, right? And so that's how you might end up being deficient, and again have all these problems with sticky mind syndrome and learning and focused attention and a lot of other things. So B9, again, either liver on a regular basis, lots of greens, or supplement, guys. Now let's get to vitamin C, that on a low carb keto diet you can also be missing. Obviously, you can get a lot of it from things like eating a lot of greens, especially a lot of broccoli, or eating bell peppers, tomatoes. But again, on a low carb keto diet, a lot of people start limiting everything. And guys, vitamin C, it's not just for immune system, it's not just body's major antioxidant, helping you to have beautiful skin, helping you to create collagen for that skin, and actually outer layer of your internal organs. Vitamin C is not just important for that, even though that is important. You can also start experiencing things like bleeding gums, vitamin C is very important nutrient. It is important to create neurotransmitters like dopamine, adrenaline, noradrenaline, those ones that make you go, that regulate your flight or fight response. It's needed to maintain optimal performance of your nervous system, and again, your drive, your mental health, you not being depressed or anxious or anxiety or losing zest for life, adrenaline, they are all involved in that, and vitamin C is needed to make them, along with a lot of other nutrients. Obviously, by vitamin C, again, on a low carb diet, you're not eating a lot of oranges and a lot of fruit and berries and a lot of plant material. Usually that's why you might end up either completely deficient or just insufficient. And also vitamin C boosts things like thyroid hormones, adrenal hormones, sex hormones. Together they keep your brain power at full blast, keep you lean and energized, increase your confidence and sex drive. Vitamin C is also needed to make oxytocin, this life hormone, to bond with people and to feel connected, right? Also, if you didn't know that, vitamin C prevents your hair from going gray. It actually in the brain makes the signal that our hair should be our birth color. And then in our hair follicles, we use vitamin C to actually make that color. Also in our eyes and in our skin, it is used to make melanin, that pigment, again, to make color happen. So vitamin C, very important for a lot of your hormones and your neurotransmitters, not just your immune system or antioxidants. And again, on low carb keto diet, when I worked with people, when I was one, you might be really missing it. So if you're not eating a lot of, again, fruit, vegetables, greens, then please do supplement with that. Also, guys, vitamin A, unless you're eating a lot of liver, like not a lot, but consistently, let's say 10 ounces per week, maybe one big meal a week, unless you supplement with vitamin A, you might be really missing out, because besides animal-based foods like liver, vitamin A is only found in things like sweet potatoes. Well, actually, spinach is quite a good source, but you need to eat quite a lot of spinach and consistently. Other than that, it's in orange starchy foods like sweet potatoes or pumpkins, or carrots. Maybe you eat a lot of carrots, right? Vitamin A, it is super important for immune system, obviously, to make antibodies, to make zinc work, their team. It's important for your eyesight, for your circadian rhythm. So vitamin A, again, unless you eat liver, unless you supplement, you're probably not getting enough or low carb and keto diet. And now we are getting to some electrolytes and minerals that people on a low carb keto diet seem to be missing. Let's start with calcium. That is one of the major electrolytes in your brain. Every time your brain cells, your nerve cells want to communicate, to transmit signals, calcium is released. Every time you want to contract your muscle, calcium is needed. Calcium is that important for your nervous system that when you don't get enough, the body will take it from your bones, and in 20, 30, depending how old you are, years, you're gonna end up with bone fractures, and you might break your hip and die, right? So I don't want to be gloomy, but that's what can happen if your body is constantly taking calcium out of your bones. What else is going to happen? Also teeth health, a lot of things. Calcium, is needed to make this whole system of phosphorus, vitamin D, all of it work. So if you are not eating a ton of yogurt because you're afraid to eat additional carbohydrates, if you're not eating kefir or a lot of cheeses, 3 ounces a day, then you're probably not getting calcium, because other than that, unless you eat a lot of spinach, spinach is quite a good source, but you need to eat a lot of it, 500 grams and more, or maybe you eat some Swiss chard, seem to be also a good source of a lot of minerals, or you eat a lot of sesame seeds. Unless you eat all of these foods or a lot of dairy products, you're not getting your calcium. And that's why your mental health can suffer. Maybe your workouts can suck. And in general, you might experience things like cramps, or also calcium is involved in creating digestive enzymes that you need to digest, absorb nutrients, right? So supplement with about 1,000 milligrams, or eat your dairy products. I eat half a liter of yogurt every day for that purpose, and also for the purpose of probiotics that are amazing for your gut health. Of course, eat it plain with no added sugars. So calcium. Let's get to magnesium. Magnesium. This mineral is mostly present abundantly in plant-based foods. Again, there are things on low-carb keto diet like spinach or Swiss chard that are quite high in magnesium, but you need to be eating a lot of them, and you need to be eating that every day. Other than that, magnesium is in a lot of plant-based foods. Also, a lot of nuts and seeds would have magnesium, but it's very hard to get all the magnesium you need, no matter what diet you are on. And magnesium, guys, it's needed to make energy. It's needed to make all the proteins, all the, neurotransmitters. You need your energy for your brain cells to communicate. You need neurotransmitters to be sent. You need to produce different proteins to make neurotransmitters that make you think, focus, pay attention, and learn and experience a lot of emotions. And magnesium is involved in production or expression of those proteins from your DNA. So when you don't get enough of magnesium, your life gonna suck on so many levels. It's involved in 600 plus different reactions, and there will be not enough time on the whole podcast to explain why magnesium is important. So with magnesium, guys, I actually highly suggest you to look into supplementation. I personally chose this brand Life Extension magnesium caps, and I get about 1,500 milligrams spread out throughout the day of magnesium every day. And again, it doesn't matter on what diet you are on, magnesium supplement with that. Very important for your overall health and your brain performance. And now, last but not least, we have potassium. And potassium, besides having quite some potassium in things like, again, spinach or Swiss chard, or all this green stuff that people do seem to be consuming on low carb and keto diets, even though a lot of people just skip it all together because they're just not fans and they eat some diet that is very colorless. And potassium, besides that, is found in things like beans, sweet potatoes, fruit. Avocados are quite good sources actually of potassium, but not so many people eat a lot of avocados. You'd need to eat like 4 a day to get sufficient potassium if you were to get it only from avocados. Potassium, why it's so important? Well, it's one of the major electrolytes in the body, meaning your cells, your neurons needed to fire, your cells needed to communicate. It's also very important for hydration inside of your cells. You can be drinking all that water, but that water, that liquid will not be able to get into your cells to hydrate your cells, because in order for water to be transported through cell membrane, you need sodium and potassium balance. Sodium keeps the water in your blood, and potassium keeps water going in your cells freely. And so that balance is important to maintain blood pressure, for example, right? If you have too much sodium but not enough potassium, your blood pressure can go up. But also your cells are going to be starving from water. So potassium is important for that. It is also very important for digestion. It is in absorption of nutrients. It is engaged and involved highly in production of energy, in making neurotransmitters fly between your nerve cells, making your thinking, your learning, any sort of action, actually your drive, your motivation, making it easier and possible. So potassium is needed for that. Let me check my online resources for additional potassium benefits and important points. Yes, I'm looking through all these resources. The main thing you want to remember about potassium, it is super important for hydration. Water is not enough. It is super important for digestion, for transport of nutrients inside of our cells, for nerve communications, for creation of energy, muscle contraction. And by the way, stomach is a muscle, heart is a muscle. So as you can see, potassium is very important in your system, and it is abundantly found in potatoes of all kinds, fruit and veg and beans, and you just might not be getting enough on low carb, plant-based foods, poor diet. So what I'd recommend, probably supplementing if you are not going to change your diet. And to sum it up, B1, B9, vitamin C, vitamin A, magnesium, calcium, potassium, those are things for sure you want to look into. But then also, guys, a lot of people have different versions of keto and low carb diets. And so if you, for example, chose to eat only certain foods, maybe you're super high fat diet, like 90% of your calories come from fat, then you also might be deficient in things like zinc and iron that are only present in the lean tissue of things like beef or darker meat of animals. Zinc, iron, they're also present in a lot of shellfish, especially things like oysters, mussels, different clams. But if you don't eat those either, then you might very well be deficient in a lot of other nutrients. Also, of course, if you don't eat fatty fish, you're deficient in omega-3 fatty acids that are absolutely crucial for your brain function, to build your brain cells, your nerve cells. Depending again on your dietary pattern, you might be missing a lot of things. And again, the key concept is the more you eliminate of different kinds of foods, the more nutrients you lose, and the better, well, the bigger, not better, really, bigger there is the chance that you're going to be missing out on key nutrients that are contributing to your health system in so many different ways, because a lot of nutrients are involved not just in one process, but like magnesium, 600 different reactions, right? So if you're missing out on your magnesium, there is a whole bunch of stuff that's gonna go wrong. Let me know, guys, if you have any questions, if you need additional advice, if you need additional guidance about all these nutrients that you might be missing out on and share this episode with anyone who is on low carb, on keto diet. Also, let be aware of the fact that if you're on a very restrictive diet, more often than not, you need to supplement with a whole bunch of things. So please do look into that, and not any supplements will do. You need to be very specific about the quality, the quantity, the kind. Does it have what it needs? Just because it's called multivitamin doesn't mean it has everything. Not at all. Any producer can put whatever formula they want in that supplement, and that might not be meeting your specific requirements. So ask questions. Please do reach out if you are on a very restrictive diet. Share this episode with people you care about. And guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And till next time, eat better daily.